And maybe I can pray and you can pray that in next life I am born as a woman. Because our world has become too macho. And we have lost our feminine side. And without the feminine side, macho alone can go astray and can mislead the world. And so when you are in balance, in harmony, and harmony is the most important principle in the universe. Universe is basically works in harmony. The sun is in harmony with the soil and the seeds. The seed you plant into the soil, and it is in complete harmony with the soil and in harmony with the water. Without the water, that seed will not germinate. The moisture, the water. And the sunshine, without the sunshine, that seed will not germinate, will not become a tree, will not have blossoms, will not have apples, will not have pears, will not have other things. So photosynthesis is the first and fundamental principle of harmony. And that knowledge of harmony is science. We need to know how all the universal species and elements, earth, air, fire, water, time, history, gravity, evolution, how everything fits together. That is the ecology. That is the knowledge of harmony. So science at the moment has gone a bit astray. It has become too limited. Only empirical science, only evidence-based science is science. But actual word science, if you know the meaning of the word, is knowledge. Every kind of knowledge is science. Every kind of knowledge. And there are many ways of knowing. Many, many ways of knowing. Not only empirical knowledge or only evidence-based knowledge. Of course, that knowledge is important. Evidence-based, rational knowledge is important. But that's not the only kind of knowledge. When the scientists like Richard Dawkins, he interviewed me for Channel 4. And he said, Mr. Kumar, I don't believe in spirituality. Very stern. I said, all right, Professor Dawkins, don't you believe in breathing? What do you mean? I said, you are a professor. I don't need to explain to you what spirituality means. You should consult your Oxford Dictionary. You are a professor at Oxford. And you don't consult your own Oxford Dictionary. So he was taken aback. He didn't think that this Indian will challenge the professor at Oxford. Uneducated Indian. No degree, no BA, no MA. Although I have 3 or 4 doctorates. But all of them are given to me honorary. I did not work for them. And so I explained to Professor Dawkins, I said, spirituality means breathing. Breathe in and you say inspirare. Breathe out, expirare. And when you stop breathing, you are expired. No more alive. And so I explained to him that spirituality means breathing together. When I breathe with the tree, tree says, thank you, Satish. Carbon, my lunch. Thank you, Satish. We breathe together. And then I breathe in. And I say, thank you, tree. Oxygen. Good lunch. We are breathing together. When you say love, what is love? You embrace your beloved in your arms. And you kiss your beloved. You are breathing together. Love is a spiritual value, a spiritual quality. Why? Because you are breathing together. You can't be alone and say, oh, I love my beloved, but I don't want to see her. I don't want to breathe with her. Her smell is too smelly. That's not real love. You have to breathe together. When you are body with the body, when you are serving your guru, your teacher, you sit at the feet of the guru and you breathe together. You don't have to even talk. With my guru, I never talked much. I just sat, just observed and breathed together. So spirituality does not mean a church or a book, but the Quran or the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or any other book, or the mosque or the temple or the Shiva or Vishnu or Brahma or Jesus Christ or Muhammad. They are all wonderful teachers. But spirituality goes beyond religion. Spirituality goes beyond books. Spirituality goes beyond temples and mosques. And so, breathing together in harmony, compassion, service, love, gratitude, generosity, beauty, all these are spiritual qualities. So, Professor Dorking, don't you believe in spirituality? And he said, I have to think again. He interviewed me for 1 hour in an Oxford college. But I must say, if I can criticize your professor, he used only 1 or 2 minutes of that interview in the program. It was very, very short. He cut it all out because he wanted to present his view. Never mind, I forgive him. Spirituality also includes forgiveness. Even breathe with somebody like Professor Dorking. So harmony and the knowledge of harmony is science. This is what I was trying to say. If you understand science means all kinds of knowledge. Intuitive knowledge, scientific, empirical knowledge, all kinds of knowledge, traditional, indigenous knowledge. They knew. The Buddha did not have science at the time, but he had knowledge. Jesus Christ did not have empirical and evidence-based science of Newtonian science or Darwinian science, but he had knowledge. You cannot say the history of knowledge begins with the emergence of science. You cannot say that. Humanity has knowledge for millions of years. And therefore, knowledge of the universe as a harmonious working is science. So let's broaden the meaning of science. This is what we teach at Schumacher College. This is what I promote in Resurgence magazine. Holistic science, where all kinds of knowledge is included. Then, communication of that harmony is arts. So you can communicate what you know. Knowledge is in your heart, in your mind, in your brain, in your body, in your consciousness. But it's there unmanifest, like a seed is unmanifest. Seed has got tree in it, but you don't see it. In the same way, knowledge is within you, in your consciousness, but you don't see it. So you have to express it. So now I'm communicating to you what I little bit know. I don't know very much, but what I little know, I'm communicating to you. Now this is art of speaking. Some other time, I might be making a picture. Art of making picture. Sometimes you communicate by gardening. You communicate with cooking. You communicate with making beautiful clothes, like that lovely shawl there. Or you make some beautiful shoes. You make art. Art means making. Art is not just fine art in the museum or gallery. The greatest art is art of living. And all other arts emerge from the art of living. And the living is a very holistic concept. Living does not only mean a few words on the page of poetry. Art and poetry, these two words, like science. We have forgotten the meaning of science, and we think science is what is that narrow discipline, what is practiced in the university department, like chemistry or physics or something. In the same way, we have forgotten the meaning of word like poetry. What is poetry? Poetry word comes from Latin poiesis. And poiesis means making. Autopoiesis means self-making. So we are all makers. And therefore, we are all poets. I am sitting here in front of hundreds of poets. You are all poets. Will you now recognize, please, that you are a poet? You are an artist. Will you recognize it? Yes. Yes. Say yes. 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 An artist is not a special kind of person. But every person is a special kind of artist. Will you remember this? An artist is not a special kind of person. But every person, every one of you, including that little baby there, is a special kind of artist. We are all artists. And when we are artists, we are able to make living, art of living. And we are able to make cooking, gardening, speaking, singing, painting, walking, sitting, meditating. They're all art forms. We have reduced the art, like science is reduced. Art also is reduced. Poetry is reduced. We think poet means somebody who can put a few words on the page, like our wonderful poet laureate, late poet laureate Ted Hughes, or our present poet laureate Carl and Duffy, and former Andrew Motion, and William Blake, and Shakespeare. They were poets, of course, because they were making poetry. They were making something. But we can make something ourselves. And so, communication of that knowledge is art, and therefore there is no contradiction between science and art. There is no contradiction between science and spirituality. You need science and you need spirituality. You need science and you need arts. Science is knowledge, is a masculine principle. And art is a feminine principle. And all of us, all men, need to have both principles. And all women need to have both principles. So women need to cultivate a bit of masculine principle to balance it. And men also need to cultivate the feminine principle that we have to cultivate. And so science and art go together like masculine and feminine. And then, so that's communication, art. Practice of speech, practice of harmony in your life, everyday life, when you practice it, put it in your action, it becomes spirituality. So you live compassionately. You live in harmony with your husband and wife. And say, from hereafter, I'm not going to be angry with my beloved wife. How about that? Are you all ready, men, to make a vow that hereafter I'm not going to get angry with my beloved wife? Okay? Only silence.
That sounds good.
In the same way, all women also say the same thing. Hereafter, I'm not going to be angry with my husband. If he does something bad, it's his problem, not my problem. If he goes astray, becomes unfaithful, he'll suffer. He will suffer. He will suffer. Can you have that big heart? Can you have that big heart? And then men will say, leaving my love at home and going with somebody else. Who am I? What am I doing? That will be the wisdom. So practicing harmony in your everyday life and living with harmony with your children, with your parents, with your neighbors, with trees, with animals particularly, because we don't live in harmony with animals. We put them in factory farms. Pigs and chickens and cows are all suffering because we want this cheap meat in Tesco. And so living in harmony with all living beings, humans and other than humans, that is spirituality. So we need science, we need arts, and we need spirituality together. These are the three things we need together. There's no contradiction between science and arts and spirituality. This is the main point that I would like you to remember from this beautiful day, the harmonious day, that we are in harmony with each other. We are in harmony with the trees, and trees are giving us shade, and the trees are giving us fruit, and the sun is giving us warmth, and the grass is giving us cool, and those hay bales are giving us nice cushion to sit on, and all that. You can go on and on. So all in harmony. We are all sitting here in harmony. That is the most fundamental principle of the universe. Universe is based on reciprocity. Universe is based on mutuality. Universe is not based on me, my self-interest. Universe is not based on self-interest. Universe is based on mutual interest.